So I got bored and decided to go online looking for Java projects so I can make solutions to them and actually upload on YouTube for a video idea. And I came across a rather interesting one, a text-based adventure game, which gave me an idea of an interactive stories that you're telling a story and then the user gets to pick their choices and go different paths, for example. So that's exactly what I tried to do, create a solution of, and that's what I'm going to be doing in today's video. I initially was going to use this in my main main Java project, the first ever one that I put all of my learning projects in. But I decided to actually create a separate one because I wanted to add this to a GitHub repository so that if anyone was interested to go with this, they could actually use it. So link down below in the description for that if you're interested. I want to do some experimental features, so I turned on the experimental features but completely forgot that I wanted to use them and didn't really end up using them. Alright, so now I'm going to have the story itself, which is basically where you're going to have each and every piece of the story. Here's the goal of this. So basically what I planned to do was the story class would actually hold the story. And if you wanted to hold multiple stories, then you would have multiple story classes. So you can have maybe like the gem story, maybe like the player story, that kind of thing. So different story classes would have different implementations of stories. And the story class would be like the template, basically. So the constructor is where you would initialize names and gender, for example. And so I'm going to make it a static one so I can actually access this from outside the class. You're going to see why I did that in a few. Now, personally, I take pronouns very seriously in the sense that if you say that it's a male, then I want to make sure that all the pronouns reflect the male. So like if it's a male, it's he, his, him. If it's a female, it's she, her, hers, that kind of thing. Not anything else when I take pronouns seriously. So now we're going to do an interface which is going to be the choice. Every class that implements this will be acting as a choice, which is why we said polymorphism is something that you're going to need for this project. The main thing you're going to have in this story is going to be how to continue the story. So you're going to have a method that runs a story, and then at the end of it all, it's going to have a choice. The choice will have more of the story which is to be run, and then when you're finished with it, you're going to go back to another story which is going to be in the main class. So you're going to see about that in a bit. This is just a template, so it's not going to be me doing like a story myself. I'm a terrible storyteller, which is why I'm not going to be making this on my own. So here's the choice basically, and what you're going to have in here is you're going to get text from the user, and then that text reflects two or more decisions. In this case, it's going to be two decisions. So right now I'm going to create two choices, which is going to be one or two. These are going to implement the choice interface, which will then have this continuous story method. And since we already specified what the name is, we can just use that, the name variable, the one that we have in the choice interface. So as you can see, both of these have their own continuation of the story. So basically, if the user types in 1, then it'll return 1. And then we're going to have the implementation of 1. And if the person types in 2, we can have 2. So something like that. That's how I plan to do it. And if they choose none of these, then you're just going to have to add in a new choice, which I figured out that because we have one method in here, this can actually pass as a functional interface, which means we can actually use lambdas. You don't need the annotation to use a lambda. It's just something that I personally find very useful to do, and also generally lets them know that they can use a lambda. So basically what we're doing here is we're making a custom continue method using an anonymous class, and that's what we have just done here. So now we're just going to get the text, which is going to be choose wisely 1 or 2, and then you're going to say 1 or 2 string scanner.next will get the next word, which means it'll get the first word that you type in. So we can say arrival, and now we need a way to actually run this. So we're going to create a run story. You can have the main method. This is just me adding in a run configuration because it's kind of fun. And the goodness of actually using like this is you can just declare a new story and then you can run it, and we should get our story on the terminal. Alright, so here I'm going to demonstrate that you don't need to have specifically one name. It only take the first word. So make sure that the first word is something that follows the question. So as you can see, it actually gives us Linda chose 1. And it doesn't matter what the case is because I did say ignores case. So even if it's all caps, it doesn't matter. This is just so it doesn't break. So here, as you can see, it will also only take the first word because we had scanner.next. So you will see Andrew Jones. It only take Andrew from this one. It's very difficult to type girlfriend. Trust me. So if you pick 2, Andrew chose 2, that kind of thing. And the good thing about using this method is that each time you want to add in a new choice, all you have to do is just create a new class, give it a name, make it implement the choice interface, and then supply it with your own continue story method. So we're trying to get the same thing, we're trying to ignore the case. So we're going to turn it to lowercase, so whatever type, make it to lowercase, make sure that we don't get any kind of problems. So case 1, if you type 1, it's going to be new 1. Type 2, it's going to be new 2. 3, you get the idea. And then this method returns a choice, which is why when we now call the method, we can run the continue story method to get the implementation in each and every specific one. So we can have the exact same code as we did before, return a brand new anonymous class that just, prints out not a valid option. Or alternatively, you could have an exception here. I like to make my own custom exceptions because they just make a lot more sense. But you're completely cool with using this. It's completely up to you. So you can just throw a new wrong option exception here. So So just like that, you have actually added in a brand new method, a brand new choice, and you can now run this. What's your name? The protagonist, Jack Smathers. La boom boom. Male. So as you can see, we now get everything correctly. 3. Jack is a male and chose 3. We run that again. Boone. Tobias from NetherRealm Studios. I love Mortal Kombat, by the way. Gender, male. 1 or 2. And then if you pick one that doesn't work, you get this wrong option exception. It's pretty cool. For the main gist of having an interactive story, basically it's just going to be that, minus the consequences for each and every choice that you make. So this is just for storytelling purposes, and anything added to that would take just a bit more code. By a bit more, I mean a lot more. Yeah, you get the point.